Made it to my rainforest. I have to go for walkies. That's where we're going. Sounds good. Sit down on this rock. 20k walk in 7 minutes. Don't know how I do it. This heavy backpack off. Boy, long walk. Pop that off. Tea tree. So I actually did film a video in front of the waterfall, as you can see by this demonstration. But it doesn't mean that it's incorrect, it's just what works for you. So it's finding how to harmoniously not only go along with yourself, but with other people as well. Just can't get enough. So the static, the background noise, you can hear my voice, but then the wind kicks in, so it does make it a bit hard to hear what I'm saying. It's kind of a dare I say the word meta example of what I was actually talking about going with the flow of life. Since the audio didn't work out, how do we find another way around the blockage of the audio not working? So not that I planned for this sort of a backdrop to suit that environment, but it did somewhat go with the flow. When we do hear that, it's normally it's almost said in the same context of you need to get over it, man. It's like, just go with the flow, man. It's like this, it shouldn't be a concern. And in some regards, there are some things we do get caught up in. Like, say if this river behind me, this raging river behind me, got a blockage. There was rocks, there was a buildup of trees. It would create a dam, and that onflow would actually create damage to the surrounding area. And similar with emotions, if we get blocked up, if we have a hindrance in our life that we just can't see past, that is restricting our life, like fear, for example, we can't. We become immobilized by that. We can't see past it, and we become overwhelmed by fear. or overwhelmed by anger, or overwhelmed by sadness, or whatever it is, it creates a blockage. Things aren't in flow. How do we go about knowing what is restricting our lives? And in that is an inward journey to actually discover ourselves and what is creating blockages to what we want in our lives, what is stopping us from achieving what we want. It can also be said in a way of like, because if you're going with the flow, even though you're feeling you're going with the flow and things are working for you, or you're still bumping up against rocks along the way sort of thing on your journey downstream, that can, to other people, be perceived as not going with the flow, like you're swimming upstream, you're not doing or going with what they want you to go with. So it's kind of like where two streams meet sort of thing, and then they diverge. There's a fork in the road. It's almost like one stream is almost chastising the other stream for going a separate way. In that, it's almost a form of conformity, in that what you're going with the flow in your life is not adhering to how I want to conduct my life as well. But if we put it in a metaphor of to be able to go effectively with the flow, you can either jump straight in and float down a river and try and navigate the rocks with just your body, or you can have a vessel, a boat, and upon this boat would be a rudder, and the rudder normally directs you on the flow. If you've got an engine and are determined to go upstream, then it's going to take a lot of energy to do that, but you'll still need a rudder to direct yourself upstream. And along many life's obstacles, there's going to be a need to direct yourself, to conduct yourself, to go around these obstacles, to not hit up against them. And how sometimes you're conducting or directing, being the captain of your own ship, it can be seen as an offense to other people, so they need you to go with their flow. And if you're not going with their flow, then you're either kicked out of the sailing the sailing group, or you're perceived as something that is an inefficient captain in a way, even though what is efficient to you is working for you, because that person is wanting you to conduct your life in their set of ways, not in your ways. But what works for them may not work for you. So it's finding what works for you. And to find what works for you is to find where those obstacles affect your own life. We all might have similar backgrounds or similar stresses, but we'll all navigate that a little bit differently. We'll all find different ways. Some people might just hit up against that rock, against that downward stream, and just stay there. Some people might get caught up in a whirlpool and be just going round and round in circles in that whirlpool. As we direct our lives, we're not going to be sometimes following what other people want us to be doing. We can heed their words, similar with like the weatherman sort of thing. There's a 90% chance of rain the next day, but that chance was actually quite a slim chance and it didn't rain sort of thing. We could just cancel all plans altogether, or we can listen to the information but not have to direct our lives in that way. We can take aboard what other people say to us, but we don't have to anchor ourselves into that. And when we come up against obstacles, rather than trying to fight the obstacle or cancel the obstacle or pretend the obstacle doesn't exist, we can address that, yes, there is something here, that up ahead, iceberg dead ahead sort of thing, and start to navigate ourselves around and start to address the issue ahead of us. And if we put that in an emotional context, it's knowing what is within us that is creating those blocks within our lives. What is that big ice block dead ahead that we need to reduce within ourselves so we can flow a bit more easily? We don't get caught up and sunk by that, or we don't become washed up by that. The obstacle and the river aren't separate. So eventually the water will wear away the rock, and the rock will become part of the river. And they're not separate too, they're a part of. And similar with these emotions, what we consider negative emotions are more protective emotions that are trying to keep us safe. So they're more of a positive emotion. So once we learn to give compassion to, or a flood of gratitude towards what is creating this stress within our lives, we can then start to resolve or dissolve this stress. So it still is a valid part of us. It's just not invalidating our experience to see more of life. So it's how you want to navigate your life in an effortless way, because in finding what is effortless to us, we can then direct our ship a bit more easily. And what I mean by that is finding struggles, because it's not an easy journey to be on the rudder, to navigate around these obstacles in life, but it's going towards a direction that is pleasurable to you. So finding a pleasurable struggle, a pleasurable stress, and this can be in the forms of what gives us purpose and meaning. And when we find something that gives us purpose and meaning, even though it's not easy to do, everything involves effort and work, it's finding what we're happy to actually put our time and energy towards, what we're directing our lives towards, what we're directing our flow towards. And in doing that, life becomes a little bit more effortless, rather than the effort of doing something that's kind of sinking you or killing you inside, or creating dis-ease within oneself, or creating a mutiny amongst not only your own thought patterns, but amongst the people around you. Once again, what is effortless for myself might be a great effort for someone else. So once we find what is effortless, we can go a little bit more with the flow, a little bit more easier. And when it all blends together, it naturally goes with the flow. So I'm the Eflowtion Support Services, and I'll end with a little bit of waterfall.